Hola, wandering man. How can I help you? What's that, boy? Yeah?
Now's your chance. Remember, communists are notoriously skittish, so it's best to insinuate your way in.
Have you tried a butcher shop? Don't think I've ever met a Kras personally. Then again, I've never been to Kras.
Okay, maybe it's time to abandon the subtle approach.
Comunistas, huh? Can't say that's where I thought you were heading with this. Not that I'm criticizing. It's good for a man to take his time and think about the whole socio-political world picture.
It's certainly been an interesting development to witness firsthand.
So you've given up copying and now you're hunting comunistas. Care to say why? Oh, I see. I wish I could help. Unfortunately, I don't know many comunistas. Some are, some aren't. It's a big institution, room for all kinds. Comunistas, feminist supremacists, even an anti-institutional boyadero.
All right, so if he isn't personally a communist, he's definitely hanging out with them.
Ah, but you know, I did meet a genuine ideologo a few months ago. Perhaps he's your guy. You know, a guy with a theory. Someone who likes to pit his theory against other theories in deadly theory combat. It was late one night as I was leaving the arbor. He was waiting on the corner in a bright white jacket, classic Saramirizian style. He asked me for a light. We shared cigarettes. Then he asked me if I ever thought about getting into some of the extra physical branches of communism. No idea. I took it to mean he was asking me to join some sort of underground cell. A very old school organizing technique, the sort of thing comunistas used to do before the revolution. The same thing I always tell people who try to press some claim on me. I said, every boyadero rides alone. I couldn't tell you. Once I declined his offer, we finished our cigarettes and he disappeared back into the night. Just before he melted into the shadows, he turned to me and said, "Remember Dobrava and Abadanais." And then he was gone. I don't know. Guess not everyone remembers. Been wondering about that myself. Some comunista inside talk could be. Not meant for the wider public. They love that kind of thing. You'd have to ask someone who knows this ideologo personally. I have to say though, it sounds like you found yourselves a proper hunt.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal breeze ruffles his hair.
Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend.
Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. Before the cargo container. Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes, wisdom withers if not shared. And old Leo is always up for sharing. Mr. Evrat doesn't really want me to talk to people about Union guys. But who did you want to talk about? Mr. Edgar is Mr. Evrat's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does, but a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some Union business. Not even in Revershaw, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Evrat's turn to look after the Union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Africa. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
South Safra? A lot of bulk chemical manufacturing going on there. A lot of cargo shipments being made, too. The trade must have been lucrative for the trip to be so long.
He's a Union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Evrat sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better.
Oil for the wheels. Much needed in stressful times like these.
Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some Union men. I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that. Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice friendly sort, old Titus is. I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Evrat would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. The Night Guard. Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives, even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows. Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once. Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then.
Mr. Martin, Gaston also taught history and human studies to the Clear brothers.
Sure, mister. What can Leo do for you?
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are slightly out of date. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia, mini strokes, prophet's disease, sudden death, hair death, erectile malfunction, critical flatulence, watery blood, black mucus, uncontrollable weeping, increased sensitivity to la opera, inoperable joint disorder, total spinal collapse. Don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The enormity of the case before you dwarfs the list of side effects. You can't even see the side effects anymore. They're nothing to you. You stand and exit the booth.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Looking for something?
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
It is such a pleasure.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you?
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. There'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place. Thank you for passing on the message. Now run along, Piggy. And what do you know about politics?
The girl erupts in a cackle that seems like it should belong to a much older woman.
Oh, that's very nice. The little piggy wants to make sausages. Out of what? His little piggy friends? So the little piggy is a big bad communist now. Sure, I know someone who'd love to talk the ideological stuff. You're looking for Steban, a right communist who runs a mega cool and very secret meeting. He might. No.
The lieutenant let slip a sigh that seems to suggest this turn was utterly predictable.
Keep your money. What I want from you's better than gold.
Don't look so deflated. Whatever she asks, you keep your chin up. A wicked grin extends across her face. A laughing skull. Death hilarious. This is gonna be bad.
Oink for me, piggy. Just once. Be a good pig now. No oink, no goods. Wrong! This is exactly how I treat my little brother. Well, well. Seems like we're dealing with one tough pig. I'm impressed.
Yes, somehow you managed to oink with at least a modicum of dignity. The lieutenant, needless to say, is not impressed.
Sounds like you're really serious about meeting Steban. It's touching, sort of. Steban's group meets only at night, in an old room in these apartments here. It just so happens you're in luck. Their weekly meeting is tonight. Poke your snout around sometime after 10 p.m. and you might just find them. Just that he's a real communist. Not like the play acting you've been doing. The rest, you'll have to see for yourself. Oh, smart pig. Because there is. See, Steban's a bit on the paranoid side. He's got all these mega secret passphrases to keep out infiltrators and the like. You can't join the meeting without one.
Not to interfere in your personal errand, but I wonder whether it might have something to do with that phrase mañana mentioned overhearing. Remember Dobreva in Abadanais.
The lieutenant nods.
Guess this is what happens when two pigs put their heads together. That's enough. Off with you then.
supporter reel is just what you needed. The reel's attached to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader. You press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing. Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune echoing in the hallway. A lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in Cessons, surrounded by even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops spinning. Nothing to do with this right now. As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. There is no why. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage. Oh, and an incredibly cool piece of kitchen tissue is stuck to the back. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend the plastic on your knee slowly, the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The aquarium costs extra. These let you go there too. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum, apricot flavored. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says tutti frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card, looped, round letters in a woman's hand. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile, you think. Although that is not something you can read from someone's handwriting. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. A merciful wind blows in from the bay of Revachol, dusting the ground at your feet and raising newspapers far away. You feel the card slipping into it.
Let's go.
Frisson covers your entire body, a feeling of cold, a persistent chill. Your hands shake, holding onto it. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
Detective, is everything all right?
There is nothing. Again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below you, that's still there. And the small light that's on, fluttering, somewhere in the basal ganglia. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion. Even in the darkness, he's grasping for it. Still trying to hold on to the great sorrows slipping in the water. Slimy.
The call when you're dead, brother.
Here in the paleo-mammalian cortex, we call it the shadow. Because it's always there.
Tell him. Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the old factory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so. But as they say, what do you do? It didn't smell nice. It smelled like betrayal.
Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing.
Beautiful. Believe me, stupid ape, its lack of beauty was not the problem.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on pause. Your name is fuck all.
It certainly ain't Harry. Your name is passed out on the ground, dragged around by one of the other evil apes. They're taking you somewhere.
You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Yes, they're pouring something on you. It's in you. And
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water runs down your chin.
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. Then you passed out. I carried you to my kinema. to take you to a hospital. Then you came to. 10 minutes, maybe. Right. You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses. Find it under the Tools tab in your inventory.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. Oh, and an incredibly cool piece of kitchen tissue is stuck to the back. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. You don't exactly close them.
Waves are beginning to die down.
Why does she care about the waves so much? Of course, question time.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What more do you want to know about that poor girl? Yes, let's hear those other questions.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound. no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. The order was carried out in the afternoon. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every one of them. Comrades, the forsaken, the wretched, who tried to rise against the horrors of the world. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Veld?
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A host of men. Probably they ordinary people, comrades. A cold sea wind blows away the figures. You see, a slogan used to above the mural, a collapsed roof, Feld Electrical. Feld Electrical. There's something
in there?
Why single out this one building? The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. The once bright mural towers above you. Even though you're sure you succeeded, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen, did not. And now you're just standing there with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire? A trick for when you're out of ideas?
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We already scanned most of the outdoor areas on our wild cryptid hunt, so we have an understanding of the geography, at least. And then there's the church. We've already searched that and can rule it out. I know it doesn't feel like progress, but exclusion is a step too. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way, sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, this place, I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you. An adventure awaits. An adventure on the windswept urban coast. Buckle up and raise your collar. This search is going to be wet and cold. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay, why? Right. How do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically.
Finally, my time to shine.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
sticks out from beneath the rotting boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the fell building? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions, perhaps a basement access. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder. An ordinary drainage pipe. Darkness. As your eyes adjust, you see some trash. Crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side. And nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe.
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around... And it's right here, a maintenance door.
It's jammed shut. The subtle approach isn't going to work on this one. Oh yeah, big boy time. This needs you to put your back into it. A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground, and you're 180? Not to mention that the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to do something more subtle? What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder?
Teleportation is not a thing. Oh yes, it could hurt a lot.
All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is... Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle! It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
You know, for the record, you didn't teleport there. You just climbed the ladder with your eyes closed.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear.
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. The plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand. Grains stick into the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Yes, I can see that. Looks like some communists were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
The lieutenant does not seem to share your enthusiasm.
You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels slide open with a creak.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that. Yes, time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way to do that. There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, Who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? Will set in motion events we have no control over.
It will upset the balance of power in Martinaise. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace and it will start breaking down uncontrollably. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
I leave that to your judgment. You already know what I think about cross-pollinating information like this. It's dangerous, but...
He just can't be sure. Maybe it will yield something useful.
Yes. There won't be time for that once things go down. Matter of fact, I don't think there's time for it now, but...
If you must.
You mean Morel? I don't see how cryptozoology and the murder investigation are connected, but the situation in the city will get tense for everyone.
If it gets that tense, the amateur zoologists might not be able to do their job.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
As she says the word, officer, you feel a spike in the agony. It sounds like the entire radio frequency range is screaming directly into your neural pathways. No, buddy, that's not going to help. You can't shield yourself from this. It's an entirely new type of experience, way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
Really now? Check this out.
You're overwhelmed with a new surge of violent static. It feels like a blood vessel exploded in your brain.
I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing is the ULAN frequency. Blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, You can force a radio signal grid on the Pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the Pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for Pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She's been holed up in here for a while with no one to talk to. Keep her talking, and you just might get an opportunity to break loose.
The Pale? It's the end of the world. I built it myself.
And she's proud of it too, as she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, way beyond. No, once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops, and of herself merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise. God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
She's carrying a 2-barreled front load. Remain careful. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but she can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. Just keep her talking, and you'll get through this.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So, you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised. I was, before I caught you in the Pale latitude compressor. I'm fine now.
As her admitted the bullet was an emergency exit.
No, I I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, I knew the kitten had claws, but not like this. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me? Oh, fuck. Took some convincing my ass. Those guys liked me, I know it. This is what happens to people whom people like.
A dour despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck did the rest of you get by? I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same. Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon you. You mean the length of a toilet break? That wouldn't even have been enough time. Look, fuck you, man. I might also have stopped by the bar. Wow, now I'm curious. Please, explain. Don't know it, but also...
Evaluating your competence as a police officer.
The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
That didn't go super well. You've got to lay something better on her.
So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician. Yeah, that figures. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking?
She's more upset than she lets on.
Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the union.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
There. It's going to be easier to reach the machine now.
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum. I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. I'm listening. And? The gun store. Trigger Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. Sure don't.
The breech loader?
No.
This is such a wipeout.
A knocked-away AD front loader. 2-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing. Yeah, evidence. Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Claudia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna. The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Claudia. It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival. Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar. Yeah? Where?
More questions before doing anything.
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claus's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while.
She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasha comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea. Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy boys. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried the lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going... fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
So this is what she was scared to tell Titus. This cop.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear white voice. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with a disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the tape. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time. All of this just means that you're effective. Criminals know you and are scared of you.
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both. Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough. You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. fucking Titus.
She's not going to change her mind that easily. She still perceives you as a threat. Wait, one thing, possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally. Satellite Officer Viclair looks out of the window grimly, then puts his coffee down and turns to Patrol Officer Miller. We could either take a room here in the Whirling or go home for today. Let's go home, John. Nothing's going to happen today, she responds quietly. John takes his blonde wig off. Call Heidelstein. He can give us a ride.
Friction, lock, set.
Don't leave me here! Please leave!
Fantastic. I've got to get on the road. Then you can go find your friends. Unless you have anything pressing to ask me. What bunker? Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
Keep calm. Breathe in. After the pain recedes, it's a little clearer. You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but... She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it. Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun down. That's not the solution to your problems. You are...
Oh, yes it is.
You should know the words to say. You've been here yourself, so why is it not coming to you? Because you've misread the situation from the beginning, and now her finger squeezes the trigger. A smirk crosses her face as she watches you stand there, mute. Then she exhales sharply, shakes her head, and pulls the trigger. You watch as her brains trickle out through her neon hair.
Okay, you said it. You needed to say it. Now it's been said. We need to clean up.
You're going to need an ocean of booze to drown this out.
We clean up. It may take days for processing to pick up her body. We need to move it somewhere. That tent there.
The plain red tent stands by dispassionately. It It was pitched by practiced hands. She was used to camping out. You see a rolled-up sleeping bag and personal belongings.
We should put her in the sleeping bag, so the rats don't get to her.
The lieutenant nods. There she lies, cocooned in the sleeping bag, surrounded by empty cigarette packs, books, and half-read magazines. Magazines? You should look through them. Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another, a ghost airship. You also see a collection of radio enthusiast magazines.
See anything?
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. More Technological Digest. One of the magazines doesn't have images on the cover. It's not a magazine, it's a leather notebook. You pocket the worn brown leather journal.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
A thick journal. The cover is worn like someone used to carry it around in their back pocket. It's made of full-grain leather. The lower left corner of the back cover sports an embossed brand name, Schneller. Schneller is a stationery brand from Gottwald, beloved among architects and engineers. She had good taste and must have taken what she recorded here seriously. The journal falls open. About 2/3 of its ruled pages have been filled. The large cursive of someone who writes quickly and confidently. Perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins. It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
We could learn a lot from this.
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code. Looks like contact information, quantities, directions.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give...
Professionalism is his coping mechanism. Esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape. Short, wry observations of people and places, probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. All I can do is make myself as useful as I can while looking for a way out. Remember, no one is indispensable. Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this, loyal to a fault. But that's another matter entirely. She is referring to betraying her previous employer. Does this suggest she did it in self-defense? That name isn't mentioned as far as you can tell. Small wonder. Would you talk about La Puta Madre in your journal? You do see an M, though. La Puta Madre. M is mentioned on March 9th and March 15th. Great. M's peon is coming to town, no doubt to investigate the lynching, but also, I feel it in my gut, to finally put a bullet in my head while I'm napping in my lorry or on a smoke break. Well, I won't stick around just to twist my own neck by constantly looking over my shoulder. Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I got the call? The call? Did M call her personally? Why? Things played out just as she had feared, except you didn't shoot her. Maybe it's the old you, or maybe she was just paranoid. Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out, of course. I've made it a point to believe in the best in people, the boys, for example. But experience tells me. Did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people, they'd take measures to protect themselves. Even I know that. Economic measures first of all. Gotta make a living, right? I can still hear his voice in the receiver. Taste the plastic. The entry ends abruptly. The most recent entry is from today. It reads, "Even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that. Forever on the run. Not really my idea of the open road. Man, I was really looking forward to winning."
I don't think she killed the mercenary. It looks like she might have been framed.
This whole thing was a detour, and a fatal one, he thinks. Don't get emotional.
By the Hardy Boys? By Classier? By us? No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure. Could have been Titus. Then again... Maybe there's a Hardy Boy we've yet to meet, who acted as his accomplice. Either way, we need to keep an eye on him. One thing is for certain. We have business back in the whirling and rags. Questions to ask. We should get to it.
Stop. Just up ahead. Danger. You are prepared. Don't put away your friend, your weapon. The barrels of your Villiers 9mm pistol shine threateningly in the cold spring light.
Yes, I hear commotion. Let's go.
Good. Be ready to take damage.
I'm all out of shits to give, loincloth. Welcome to the fucking reckoning.
Put your damn gun down. People are gonna get hurt. We need to talk this through. All right?
Shut up! You're not gonna talk yourself out of this, loincloth shit fuck.
This is the mercenary at the gates. His chest rises and falls under the ceramic breastplate. His fingers reach for the butt of his sidearm. There's something very wrong with him.
This is a misunderstanding. Nothing irreversible has happened yet. You can just return to your unit and forget all about this.
The Kypt is merciful, willing to spare us if we just forget about our murdered and humiliated commander. I think we should just kill everyone, Courty.
You are all drunk. Come to your senses. You won't gun down 7 people in the middle of the street. This isn't a frontier town or a jungle outpost.
Easy, Lizzie. Let me handle it. I know guys like this. I'm sure we can come to a peaceful agreement. Ain't that right, fellas?
He is facing overwhelmingly superior firepower, and he knows it.
Peaceful.
Nest in your abdominal cavity like a little wild mouse. The masked man's words are barely intelligible, but you can hear them.
Fuck, there's a third one. How did we miss something like this?
This third one, he is the most dangerous of them all, heavily armed.
Get lost, comedian. You cops had your chance. Now it's fucking time for some justice.
Pig fuck!
Oh, people are gonna die today. We're not leaving it like this. These tribals hung him up for everyone to see.
No one is going to kill anyone. Let's just put the guns down and talk like civilized human beings.
With a wordless gurgle, the killer loads his long rifle. The leader gives a small nod to the helmeted man. Suddenly, the grip of your sidearm feels comforting and warm in your hand. Feels like it's saying, do it. Shoot him in the mouth. Shoot him before he shoots you. No, wait. It's good you have that gun. It really is. Just soften him up first. Present an argument. Even if it comes to a fight, it's always a good idea to drag it out first. Get under his skin. I don't know about this getting under his skin. What if he gets under yours? I'm barely keeping your hand from trembling here. International something. International law. Don't say it. But now you stood there scratching your ass for 1.5 seconds. You think this helps things? Easy now. Easy. Just tell them these men didn't do it. There's a peaceful way out. Of course, nothing bad will happen. Talk about his dead friend. He seems stable enough to take it. Even better, it will further destabilize him, cost him time, and maybe even lives. This might be a very bad moment to come up with this, but he's courty, right? The man he's mourning was called Elise Courtenay. Courty could be short for Courtenay. Could they be brothers? Ask him that. What could go wrong? It's a discovery. Yes, this will be good. It will calm him down and won't cost any lives. Lives that could have been otherwise spared. And if not, lives aren't that important anyway, including yours. There are billions of them being lived.
Don't fucking talk to me about my brother, Loincloth.
Okay, yes. Immediate failure. Things are worse now. He's observing your every motion carefully.
Rude. Rude is the killer. Rude, the killer. Owen Cloven. He doesn't talk much.
All of you cunts inside out.
This talking shit won't help you. Yeah? Who did that?
Time. You had time to fuck around in that church, to run errands for your Union chief. I saw...
Time is up, Loincloth. Give me a name. Now! How fucking convenient.
His fingers are twitching. That's a draw reflex. He's about to draw.
You think you're funny? What if I just shot one of your pals here, right now, huh? How about the kid? That'd be fucking funny.
Listen, please. This cop and this drumhead court-martial won't decide who...
The Hardy Boys confessed to hanging him, all together. Titus said we took him out back and hanged him. He said it loud, in a public place.
You're lying. DePaul heard it.
A Kiel Model 40 revolver, 8 rounds in the barrel. The gun slowly sways in his hand from the inebriation.
You heard wrong. She and these men have been helping us find the shooter.
Liars.
The shot rings in your ears, a low, tinny ring. Then the Hardy Boys yell something. The young woman stands and looks behind her. The shot has flown over her head. crashing a small pane of the glass window behind her.
I missed.
I know what I heard, Corty. They said they killed him. They said it was a good way to end a Sunday night.
That doesn't sound good. You need to change the topic now, or there will be another shot. What topic? Shots have been fired. Act before it's too late. This was a close call.
Yes. So what? Nah. I'm clear as day. Fucking government-ordained super soldier.
Enough already! What is this? We didn't come here to fucking chat!
Interrupt me again and I will execute you on the spot, Lance Corporal. You think I care what that company cunt thinks?
The man stares at you with bloodshot eyes, a bull ready to charge. He's not listening, but looking for an opening. Now is not a good time to strike. He's looking right at your hands. Do something else. Get him distracted.
Fucking waste this fuck!
Who the fuck is that?
Glacia, the woman upstairs, where is she?
She left!
Unarmed, hunched, but keeping it together.
She left! Her room's cleaned out! Right before these assholes showed up!
We should have arrested her.
Hey, Bushman! Your little cunt isn't gonna help you out of this one!
A plume of smoke and fire erupts from the gun, and your hand goes numb from the explosion. There is a hole in his cheek. Blood gushes out as he stumbles backward, eyes filled with rage and disbelief, gurgling, muttering something unintelligible. To your right, the killer raises his rifle and takes aim at you. His moves are steady, but the long barrel of the rifle sways slowly. You leap left. A small angry lead passes mere millimeters from your side, tearing fabric off your coat. Feels like the lightest of tucks. The man tilts his head, trying to see through the clearing smoke for the next shot. Watch out. To your left, Paul is about to take a shot too, at Kim.
God, please.
He's aiming for the eye slot in Rude's helmet. An extremely difficult shot. 2 shots ring at once. One from the lieutenant's pistol, and the other from DePaul's. It's aimed at the lieutenant, but it misses. You hear a scream behind you. Glenn, dying in a puddle of blood behind you. His mangled torso has 2 gunshot wounds. Blood gushes out of them like red geysers. You see 2 crazed eyes stare at you through all the smoke and the panic. With blood gushing from his face, the man raises his pistol at you. Then he squeezes the trigger. The look of vengeance, framed in blood, lips shaking. This is the last thing he'll do on Earth. But he will do it. He is your end. Here it comes. Death. You can't. There is no time. Something inside your pelvis explodes. Your entire lower body is on fire, and your legs can't support you. You fall down like a rag doll. The pain is too immense to scream. It pushes the air out of your lungs. Everything goes dark, a distant blur as you recede into it. Nothing, a persisting darkness, dancing lights of pain, distant shadows cast by them, like a hellish play.
You're bleeding out. Stay with me. You hear me? Stay awake. Look at me.
But you can't. It's so hard. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the sounds ever more distant. And the cold comes over you. The lieutenant, too, is somewhere far away, almost gone, when suddenly you sense something behind him. A slender white shadow towering. Someone stands there, raising her pistol at him. The lieutenant does not see it. He's pushing down on your wound with both hands. Scream immediately. He's gonna die. No, you say, and hand out your firearm to him. Your hand trembles, and your eyes are full of fear. That's all it takes. There is no room for hesitation. The lieutenant moves like a spring unloaded. He grabs the gun from your bloody hand and fires behind him. You hear a faint scream, a woman's. Then the sound disappears, like someone pressed stop on the tape. The woman is gone. So is Kim. Then the whole world.
This is death. One more door, baby. One more door.
The fight? There is no fight. The fight is over. It was lost 1,000 years ago. You have laid here forever. Keep falling deeper. Take the door. He's not taking it. His body is not taking it. Oh God, no. He's not disintegrating. He's swelling up instead. Over the hours, hurting, moaning in his sleep. And rotting, and being disinfected, and smelling of drugs, and feeling saliva in his mouth. Drifting in painkillers, thrashing in his wound sleep.
He can't go. Not before the case is solved. There is a radio in the distance. A radio of the world. Playing sounds. Good morning, Elysium. Soon he will return to the world.
Hours turn to days. Soon we will get up again and go through it again. Finally we know what the infernal engine was outside. The clarion call. It was him. He is the infernal engine. He never stops. He only gets worse.
You see the lieutenant's familiar shape in the orange jacket. It turns double, then triple, from the pain.
Sunrise, Arabellon. It's not ouch time yet. You just got the Drouamine pill an hour ago. Wait until it wears off.
Drouamine, then it's not that bad. Neither surgical nor organ damage bad, but still under the counter bad.
What happened? You shot the major in the face. A firefight ensued. Yes. As retaliation, the rifleman tried shooting you. He missed, or you dodged. Then I shot and wounded him, while Glenn took a bullet in the spine. It was meant for me. Glenn did not survive. Titus, Fat Angus, and Theo charged. Angus and Theo did not make it. They both died before they made it to intensive care. Titus survives. So do Alain and the musician. I forget his name. Yes, he's still alive too. You were bleeding out. You said something, I don't know what. And you warned me. I was able to disarm Officer DePaul before she got the jump on me. I killed her. And that's what happened. Four. Glenn, Theo, Shanky, and Angus. The fat one, he took a lot of bullets. DePaul was the last to die. Everard had their bodies returned to Crenel for a funeral. The company is yet to retaliate. Because we deterred them? Or Joyce did? Maybe the harbor in full lockdown is too costly a target. Or maybe they are simply taking their time and will attack soon. I don't know. This is the one. All. Yes, officer. 7 people are dead. It's not a success.
+1. Ruby.
But what's done is done. The violence is cordoned off. The Hornets did not get into the beehive. The worst scenario has not materialized. Yet. And we are still alive. Both of us.
He did not expect you both to survive once you stepped between those two armies. His smoking, his hunched back. You have it worse, but he took a real beating. That cigarette has medicinal purposes.
Sunrise Parabellum. Sunrise, prepare for war. It's an old revolutionary saying.
Isn't that written on your...
It served you well. The gates of the harbor are boarded up. The streets are a little more empty. Apocalyptic violence is yet to erupt, I am relieved to say. I think we may have held it off, for now. Barely. Yes, we have also completely failed, but that's okay. Reasonably bad. You were shot in the left quadriceps. That's your thigh. The outer side, thankfully, no major arteries were nicked. The bullet was removed and a bacterial infection treated with mercurochrome. We will see. No. I called your station after the fight. The injury was logged in. They told me they've sent officers to join you on the site. I'm sure they are worried about you. Not very. I have a concussion from that woman beating me with the butt of her gun. I tried to not move too much. Things would be worse if you didn't warn me. Thank you. I did not see her coming. Stupid of me. Easy now. How are you?
The lieutenant looks at you, teetering on your feet.
I honestly don't know. We can't talk to Everard. The harbor is in lockdown. Everyone in there is outside our grasp now, and Joyce has left too. Yes, she left yesterday morning, to meet the board of Wild Pines, or that is what I've heard. There's a pin somewhere in the machine that keeps Connell from sending in a death squad. Maybe it's her. Maybe she kept her end. Either way, Ruby's gone, and Classio too. We really should have arrested her, you know? Guard confirmed she left 20 minutes prior to the tribunal showing up. I don't know. I think the theory you presented, it's someone else outside our circle of suspects, was right. It better be. Everyone within the circle is either dead or gone. Honestly, I think our investigation has not produced a single credible suspect.
He arches his brow. The ceiling fan patiently spins overhead.
I'm listening. I'm ready to hear what you think about solving crimes now. It can feel that way sometimes, yes.
That concussion must be making him dizzy.
No. Are you ready to limp? Good. Where do you want to limp to?
Ballistics. In Clausia's room. Do it properly. Also, it's just close enough to endure the walk.
Why not? Another look at the window, perhaps? The one he was shot through. I don't know. I can't think of anything better.
These papers bear the stamp of the RCM. They appear to be fragments of the lieutenant's paperwork, half finished. You may have notes on this and other recent cases.
I had Gart open the door to your room. You were running a low bacterial fever the first night. It would have been easy were it not for my concussion. We both got lucky, considering the odds we faced. Let's go?
Next to the stack of bills, you see a note, a few lines jotted down in large, uneven handwriting, just as the writer was about to rush out the door. I'm sorry, I fucked everyone over. P.S. I didn't kill him. P.P.S. Gift upstairs.
A gift? I am not drawing my gun, yet, but I don't like gifts.
He says he's not, but his hand moves instinctively toward his holster as he studies the note. Relax. Not everyone is out to trap you.
It's hardly surprising.
The medicine cabinet is empty. Not even a toothbrush. Pity.
I always took you for more of a drunk than a chemical abuser, Lieutenant Hefreiter. Should we go? Mm-hmm. She certainly had her priorities straight when she was packing.
This window is pristine, at least on the inside. A red thread has been taped to the glass using adhesive tape. It trembles ever so slightly in the cold wind.
This is ballistics. She's left a trajectory for us.
Golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain. The red thread bisecting the room shows the trajectory of the bullet. From the roof outside, location A prime, the glass fractures around the bullet hole, shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. Maybe if you extrapolate all possible points of origin first, the thread will make sense. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. Ruby ruled this out vehemently. The shot would have been heard from downstairs, where no one heard it. The likelihood of A prime has fallen drastically. You may be looking for a sniper. The shot had to come from a greater distance, beyond A prime. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. 700 meters away, the likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. This would explain why no one heard the gunshot. The bullet came from far away. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions. Let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 1 kilometer away, a point beyond the docks, on an islet in the bay. The fort is ruined, but the perpetrator may have found a stable spot on the beaches surrounding it, where the concrete crumbles into the sea, as you saw in the coin-operated viewer. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 8B and 33A. The angle would have been extreme and access to the islets is questionable, but it is a possibility. Then there's the thread the witness left. She did have a first-hand view of the event. Perhaps she found something in the outer reaches of her memory of it. You need to inspect it again. It suggests the bullet came from the extreme upper quadrant of possible angles, from a point beyond the roof, B triple prime. The island in the bay.
Unless she thinks the perpetrator was standing on the ring antenna. That is where the thread seems to point. I remember. She was there that night. She would have known precisely where the bullet hole was in the glass.
She had a long time to think about it after, standing on that roof, staring at the glass.
It also looks like there may be more to her skill set than we know. The question is, should we trust her? Indeed, neither do I. So it is.
For a second he seems tired.
I just haven't gotten a lot of sleep these past few days.
He doesn't really believe this will yield anything.
No, there's nothing else. How do we get there? Joyce Messier had a sloop, but she's gone. Ah, yes, of course. The village. Let's go.
Oh, you're up. It's good to see you back on your feet. Did you like your room? I cleaned it for you. You're welcome. I thought it would be nice for you to wake up in a clean place after you, let's be fair, defended this establishment and its clientele from gunfire. I give credit where credit is due, and that, sir, was a nice shot. I was watching until you hit him. Crawled inside then. Bullets started flying. Anyway.
He really wants you to realize that he was also on the balcony looking by, in the danger zone, so to say.
I wish you a quick recovery. Also, you and your partner are staying here free now. This establishment supports cops. The stay is free, the drinks are not. Just felt I needed to specify that. Oh, you know, people don't tend to stick around after shootouts. Turns out they're not good for business. I don't remember everyone who comes here, and many people wear sunglasses inside lately. Must be a fad. Yeah, I was, yeah. That's because I'm a bad ass.
It really took courage. Don't pick at him. He nods back at you, even more stoically. Just two badass men nodding stoically. Make that three. The lieutenant is nodding too, hands crossed.
No problem. They'll come back. They always do.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Seeing you approach, the bruised man raises his bear in welcome.
Crazy motherfucker. Didn't think you had that fury in you, but I guess I've misjudged a lot of people lately. That was one hell of a shot. Hell of a shot. The fucks did not expect that. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is, thank you for intervening, fellas. That was mighty brave of you.
This is big. It's as big of a thank you as Titus Hardy can muster under any circumstances.
Now, how can I help you? Theo was old. I think he'd be pretty happy with the way he went. Never could imagine him withering away on a sickbed. But Angus, he was just a stupid kid. Didn't realize the mess he'd gotten into. Trusted me. Still, a balls on that kid. Went down fighting for someone else's shit like a fat, angry bear.
Here it comes. The last one is the worst one. He only deals with it by drinking copious amounts of 8% beer. An honest tactic, and effective.
And Glenn was my friend. Best I've ever had. I'd love that crazy homo like my own brother. We're all fucked without him. But what do? This job is shit. Well, yeah. Memento mori. Right?
Absolutely. Today, I'm going to get drunk, eat good food, and bed a good-looking girl. 'Cause tomorrow, a motor carriage might run me over.
Or you might die of a heart failure. Or syphilis.
Hey, fuck you for ruining a beautiful idea.
I guess I'll take a closer look at our union members. There's bound to be some ambitious fellows there who'd love nothing more than advancing social democracy by busting some heads. Might even ask Tibbs if he's tired of replacing windows and maybe wants to have some fun with his brother. Anyway, don't you worry. As long as Titus Hardy's standing, there will be Hardy Boys.
He's right. The numbers are replaceable. In an organization of thousands of men, there are plenty who'd join.
Don't know? Don't care. I'll be glad if I never see that fucking woman again.
Even after all that hell, he's still bitter about her? He nods and takes another sip of whiskey.
Judging by the sight of you, I'd suggest crawling into bed with a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a big tit in the other.
Yeah, go pay Monica a visit in Janrock. She's got a knack for making men forget about their worries. Biggest pair of milkers in all Rebacho.
Hell, you both look like you could use some feminine company right now.
Thank you for your advice, Eugene, and you too, Alain. I do always appreciate a good use of the expression milkers.
You're welcome, Bina Claude. You're all right in my book. Take care, coppers. You two look after yourselves now. Death passed on you today, but men don't get that lucky twice.
Copo loco. And normal cop, I guess. Good luck in Jamrock. Scars made the best tattoos, they say.
Thanks for getting involved, guys. Not a lot of cops would step into that line of fire, but you did.
And if you ever feel like the uniform is holding you back, I've got a few vacancies. You'd make one hardy boy, copper.
The graffito has been painted over the traces of the fight that took place here. It smells of blood and heavy fuel oil. This was Cindy the Scar. The lieutenant crouches, touching the fuel oil with his finger.
Looks like it, yes. This is still fresh. It wasn't here yesterday. And blood. Some of it is even yours.
Heavy fuel oil. Isn't that flammable? You could buy some smokes, light up a ciggy and throw it in there, you know, just to see what happens. See if it's flammable. It's better that way. Safer. The graffito. This was...
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But he's really gone.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Yes. In peace.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Something is wrong. Only static hisses through the speaker. No reply. Only the mindless drone of static crawling.
It's been this way for a while now. My guess is the Union is listening in on our conversations and jamming outward communications to protect themselves from Cronel. It only happens when someone mentions the attack. The rest is unaffected. Our best bet is to carry on like nothing happened. That is, if we don't want us cut off the grid completely.
Silence.
Officer, what happened? You're limping. Why are you limping? You look terrible.
She sounds almost disappointed with you, reprimanding you for falling and hurting your knee.
Look at you. You can barely walk. Doesn't look like nothing. Looks like you've got banged up real good. What happened to you anyway? We heard gunshots from the town. They were closer than usual.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Guylaine. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
You didn't only get shot.
Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead. Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti-aircraft gun, I think. Bombed to bits in the landing. I haven't been there myself. Always steered clear of it.
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died there during the landing, you know. My mother told me.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the dying days of the revolution against coalition forces before they took this city.
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go? Would that be alright?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful. Be sure to enter from the south side. Water's deep there.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I'm sad to hear that. Take care of that with Ether, will you? Don't get too many RCM men round here. Be sad to lose the first one.
That's cool. You boasting your bacterial infection like that.
If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow, and no drinking on the boat, and no joyriding either.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she smiles at you.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small tank.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
On that island? That's, nothing? It's just a seafort and some plants. You can take a raft there. It's great. And we make a fire. We make a fire. Mm-hmm. Gather the sticks for the fire. And bullets. Or not real bullets, empty bullets.
Bullet shells. There are a lot of them left over from the war, but this could be important.
I don't know what those are. They're lights. The fire guy comes and asks us to put the fire out.
Your nerve endings sting from the mention of a guy. They must mean a human being on that island, but it's cut off.
No. Yes.
Let's go with yes.
Because he asks to put the fire out. I don't know. He doesn't like it. He don't like people to be there. You shouldn't go. Yes. I don't know.
Did you mean there are electrical lights?
Yes. No, he doesn't live there. I don't think. No, he lives there. Been there twice, 2 times. He doesn't live there. He isn't there sometimes.
Anything else? What does this guy look like?
I don't know. We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there. Our father killed himself. Don't say that, he didn't. I'm sorry. There's
Lights, fire guy. We should check up on that island.
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the netpicker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.